So you're looking to get some cash flow for just in your pocket, right? You're ready to transition out of your work and start having real estate really take care of you because you did some research and you heard, hey, real estate is the easiest way to wealth. Welcome to the channel, y'all. My name is Joseph Barb. I'm Mr. Make Moves on this here of Make Moves with Us Network, where we help educate you on different real estate transactions so that way you're comfortable, you're confident, and you're not even scared to do some kind of real estate transaction to help you and your family build wealth. Y'all, today I want to talk about just adding passive income into your own pocket and different ways that you can do this, right? I met a gentleman today, and he was like, you know what? I want to get some rental income and then just start living off of that, put some money in my pocket. So, and then I explained some things and I broke down some things that I thought was really helpful before somebody tried to jump in and try to become a landlord. And a landlord is perfect. All right. So before we get started, I wanted to lay out three different things and not these different things. So there's long-term rental, short-term rental, and mentor rental. And then I have a bonus right here. But I heard this from Wall Street Trapper. He said he met a guy that told him there's three ways that you become, it's like the wealth formula. So the three ways is, and this is the order that he put it in, so that way we can understand of how this works. I'm gonna write it here on the board, so that way it can help you see what you need to do. And when I broke this down earlier for this gentleman, it kind of just opened up his eyes. All right. So the first thing you do if you want to build wealth is you buy stocks. Now, some of y'all is like, man, I don't know nothing about stocks. I don't want to learn nothing about stocks. But this is where true wealth is at because when you buy stocks, you're lending your money to businesses to allow them to make more money and then they pay you back, either in equity or dividends. It's one of those two. So if you look at the top 10 richest people in the world, the top nine of them own stocks. So that should show you, hey, and some stocks, they don't cost that much. I mean, you could probably buy a stock for what you probably pay in groceries or um, at activity or entertainment. You know, at one point during COVID, Louis Vuitton was the highest paid individual in the world. The Louis Vuitton company, they were the highest paid. He had the highest net worth in the world because everybody got checks and they went out and bought Louis Vuitton stuff. They went out and bought Hennessy. And that was all part of that company that earned all that equity and they just exploded. Y'all, stocks is the easiest and the fastest way to make money because it doesn't require any kind of knowledge. It doesn't do no background check. It doesn't care who you are and what you did in your past. It will allow you to make money in the market when you know what you're doing. So I highly recommend that y'all check out Wall Street Trapper when y'all trying to learn about stocks. All right. Next, once you buy the stocks, then you want to buy a business to help you cash flow, right? So the business is supposed to be something to help you cash flow. And I know you probably heard like a lot of people talking about buying born businesses or franchise, right? You can buy laundromats, you can buy car washes, you can buy plumbing business, you can buy lawyers' businesses, you can buy doctors' offices. You know, you can buy all those different things. My favorite person to check out on that is Cody Sanchez. Look up Main Street Millionaire. She'll show you how to buy businesses. It's a very interesting way of having cash flow continuously come in, right? And if you just want to start your own business, entrepreneurs help solve problems. If you see a problem, go out there and solve it and use your business. I'm gonna show you why to establish some cash flow. You know, network marketing businesses. You can get into like the Turo business or lending out your car for Ubering. You know, different things like that. You can start a business getting some cash flow. All right. The last thing you do is buy real estate. And a lot of people say, you know, I just want to get real estate so I can just make money. I'm going to show you the different cash flow ways in real estate because, you know, I love real estate. That's what this channel is all about is real estate. But you buy real estate for tax purposes. All right. So I just wanted to slow down right there. You buy real estate for tax purposes because of the depreciation bonus, right? So if you buy a piece of real estate, you do a cost basis. And I know I'm using big words right here, but I just want to say them right now so you become aware of them. You buy real estate, you take the building depreciation, not the land, So if you buy real estate for 400,000, the land is probably worth 100,000. The building is worth 300,000 because the building is deteriorating, but the land is appreciating as things around it is getting built and it's becoming more convenient for people that want to be there, which rises the value of your house. That's why they say location is everything. You'll find these raggedy homes, but worth more than these new build homes is because of the location, because the land, you can't take depreciation off of that. You only take it on the house value. And get this, you can depreciate a residential house up to 27.5 years. Y'all want to know more about depreciation? Y'all hit up Carlton Dennis, the tax alchemy. He will teach you this in more in depth. All right. But you can write off your house for 27.5 years. So just for easy numbers, let's just say it says 30, but it's really 27.5. So let me just say that first before somebody kind of clip this up and try to put it somewhere else. So say you're, and no, let me do this. It's 27.5. Say the house is without the land and everything is valued at 275,000 dollars. So that means every year you're able to take off $10,000 for that next 27 and a half years, right? $10,000 off of your current taxes, your W-2 taxes. Now you do have to have some kind of qualification and be a real estate professional. I'll show you how that works in just a second. But you can depreciate that off of your current income, off of you and your spouse's income. You can take that off of your taxes so you go into a lower tax bracket so you don't have to pay so much. Then there's something called accelerated appreciation to where you can take 7 years up front. So you buy one piece of property and you can take off 7 years of the depreciation right up front. But it's just that first 7 years. You can't take no more, but you can keep uh, making a jump to each and every year until it's all used up. But that is how you can save more money. You don't have to pay so much in taxes. It's through real estate. I hope y'all got that, right? So the three ways is you buy stocks that would exponentially increase your income, your wealth, and exponentially increase your wealth. You buy a business to increase your income. The more business you buy and have other people working for them, you buy back your time. Now you have constant cash flow coming in, so that way you can do what you want and you keep hiring more businesses and buying more stock and buying more real estate. So that way you keep reducing the amount of taxes you're paying on the business and you're doing the business write-offs and you're doing stock losses so you can write off even more. That is the wealth formula. But we're here about real estate, y'all. So let's talk about the long-term rental. Let me take this off the board real quick because I want to talk about real estate, but that is the wealth formula right there. So there's long-term. Long-term rentals. The most common way people always think, I'm going to get a rental property, put my money up down, that whole little process, and I'm going to put a renter in there. All right. So let's say you get a house, you pay for it. The amount of rental for the property is $1,000. That is the mortgage. That's the mortgage amount. You did the research, you did the underwriting, you see how much the homes are in the value in the area are going for, and say you can rent this out for $1,200, right? That means it's a $200 a month profit. All right, so you're getting $200 a month. How many of these do you need to technically retire? Say you need to make at least what? Let's just say $4,000 a month. That means you need 20 of these homes to just be enough to walk away. Okay. Now get this. As a landlord, if you haven't been a landlord before, what happens is, yes, it's low cash flow and it's very low maintenance, which is a good thing. It's low maintenance. You don't have to go and check on it as much. As long as they're paying, you don't really have to do much, right? As long as they're paying, you don't have to do much. Now, how mostly you find somebody to get into the house, most people use a real estate agent. Like I said, we can put it on the MLS, it push out to all these websites. People are looking, they'll find your property, and you can get a renter in there. And the real estate agent usually don't charge much about these because this is pretty quick process. Doesn't have to require a lot of paperwork outside of what the real estate agent and you are looking for. So get a real estate agent to help you list your rental property. All right. And pay them a small fee because it's worth it. But this is a low cash flow. If something should happen at that property, that cash flow is wiped out. Just from that one property, your cash flow is wiped out. right? Yes, you'll put a security deposit. Yes, you'll have all these things in place to say, hey, you broke this, you need to pay this and that. You can get lawyers and everything, but you really won't see this cash flow. Like, this is not a way to earn passive income in real estate. This is primarily for depreciation on your taxes and getting that appreciation later on. Because, like I said, your mortgage is $1,000, but they're paying 1,200. So they're paying down that mortgage. They're paying down that mortgage for you while the land is increasing in value. So you're getting more equity out of this kind of play right here. This is more of an equity play, a long-term play. You use that equity later on when you refinance the house and you will buy more properties in that manner. Okay. So this right here is technically like the burst strategy. A lot of people use a burst strategy with this. So do not expect this to be a passive income process. I'll show you a bonus one that you can have a little bit better passive income instead of a long-term rental. The next one I want to talk about is short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are awesome, right? You can charge by the day, which is usually a little bit higher. It's decent cash flow, but it's constant maintenance, like constant. These are your Airbnbs, your vacation rental places. Like, people are coming in and out. So you're having a cleaner in there. You got to double check things. Things might break constantly. So you have decent cash flow, but it's a lot of work. Like, you basically are getting a second job when you have an Airbnb if you don't hire out a property management company. Now, a lot of HOAs are saying no to these because they don't want this high turnaround of people coming throughout. They never know who you are, what you're doing there. So a lot of HOAs say no, and a lot of major cities have outlawed these, like these short-term rentals. So it's very hard to actually find a good place. But once you find a place, stick with it, like run with it. Las Vegas is a good area. Florida seems like they're still a good area. But you got to pay attention to what the market is saying when you try to use a short-term rental. And definitely you got to check and see, hey, how's the economy doing? This is where you check out the stock. Are they spending money on leisure things? Are they spending money on travel? Different things like that. If they not, then short-term rentals will suffer a little. Okay. So see how that works. Now, one of the new things that's up and coming, and it's a very affordable way, is called midterm rentals. So midterm rentals rent out by the week or by the bed. It's a very affordable way for people to make a living and still have a place to stay. So the main reason I got into real estate is everybody's going to always need a place to stay. So midterm rentals actually help out with that. They make it more affordable because if you're paying by the bed, you're not paying for everything in the house, but just pay by the bed and all the utilities are covering everything. It's a little bit more easier for people to breathe in this process. So it is a high cash flow. It's medium maintenance because you're not in there as often as a short term, but you are in there a little bit more than a long term, right? Um, Most HOAs say no to this because they're just not familiar with the process and they think that it's just not the best, right? So there's a company called PadSplit that has community members that already kind of set this all up and like give you a lot of um, publicity and marketing that comes with that. So if you want to know more of how to do midterm rentals, and you might say, who will be a midterm rental? Traveling nurses, insurance agents, gig workers, or just that kind of clientele would probably be much of your midterm rental. Singles that's traveling a lot, like the oil and different things like that. Just a lot of traveling people will probably primarily be your midterm rentals. All right, so definitely check that out. Now, as I said earlier, I'm going to give you a bonus that is true passive income, but it's similar to the long-term rental. This is very low maintenance, it's very low cash flow, but you don't have to spend so much money, right? And if you do it correctly, you can avoid a lot in taxes. Now, this method will not give you the appreciation and the appreciation of any of these, right? So all of these all come with the depreciation of the house and the appreciation of the land. Okay. So all of these go with that, except this one. But it gives you pretty decent cash flow, like continuously. And that is REITs, real estate investment trusts. What's so cool about REITs is whenever they make money, 90% of their money has to be paid to the shareholders, right? And so you might be saying, what are REITs? REITs are the Walmarts and the Home Depots. They don't actually own those buildings. Those are leases for 10 to 15 years. So they pay a REIT to lease out that building for them. There's the Amazon warehouses, right? Where the Amazon store all their products to get them to you at a quick pace. Those are covered by REITs. Those people don't actually own the buildings. The REIT owns them, right? Logistic facilities. Look it up. Prologis. That is who Amazon rents out their REITs. I mean, lease out their buildings from, and that is a REIT. Then you can check out the different malls, all the shopping centers. All of those are ran by REITs. So if you see people are like utilizing those things, the REITs are pretty much stable. Then there's mortgage REITs. So anytime all the mortgages get put out into a big security blanket, and every time somebody makes payments to that, they're getting that interest payment. They're paying that out, their profit to the shareholders. There's the cell phone towers. There's a lot of different REITs out there. Pretty much any kind of structural big commercial place might potentially be a REIT. Apartment REITs, all those kind of things. And so what a REIT is, it will pay you out either monthly, quarterly, or annually. If you go on Yahoo Finance and check out forward dividend yield, you will see what the REIT pays out annually. All right. And this is an annual number, right? They will show you what they're paying out annually for that particular REIT. So some of my favorite REITs, and I'm not telling you to purchase these REITs. These are REITs that I just personally like to use, and I have personally is O Realty, because they pay monthly. So they've been known to constantly pay monthly every month. So every month I get a dividend check from them that deposits either, so I have it set up to where it's called drip, to where they rebuy me more, they buy me more REITs, so that way I can have more value. And then later on, when I just want to start accepting the cash flow, it'll be at a higher amount. So, but they would do, they could pay you monthly. There's AGNC that has a high for dividend yield, but they pay every quarter. You can go with Prologis. Like I said, Amazon ain't going nowhere. Everybody keep buying stuff. Every time somebody is going further and further away from the city, they have to build more and more facilities because people want their stuff fast. So as long as people want their stuff fast, Amazon logistic facilities, they ain't going nowhere. So definitely check those out. Super passive. All you're doing is just lending them money, and they're using that money to produce more and more stuff, and they're giving you a portion of their profits, and that's it. Buy it and forget it. 5 minutes. Get a brokerage account. You purchase them, and then you just sit, and then you just go about your day and get a check every single month. But like I said, there's no depreciation or appreciation in that process. You're just getting that constant cash flow in that process. But if you really wanted to get one of these, definitely hit me up, 469-907-9073. I'm happy to help you understand of how you can get some passive income from real estate, where it's super, super fun, and get that depreciation and appreciation also, so that way you can save more money. So if y'all ready to make moves, y'all definitely hit up y'all boy. Peace out.